Winemaking is science, it's art, and it's business. The wine industry in Minnesota right now is improving. People are getting better, and it's happening quickly. It's not just the big getting bigger. There are wineries popping up all over the place, and they're making it.
My name is Vicki Vogt. I'm the mother of the 4 daughters here, and this is my baby, this winery. My husband and I have farmed for 35 years. So we farm corn and soybeans, and he always wanted someone to be in agriculture with him, but the girls didn't want to do that. So I was really excited to come up with a plan to bring them back and into some form of agriculture. I said, who's in? And I got 2 of them back home. So 2 out of 4 is good. We don't have any sons, we only have daughters. Justin is my son-in-law. When I asked who was going to be in for the winery, when I did the original business plan and said, this is what I want to do, and I said to Justin, would you like to be our winemaker? Last year, our first year out of the gate, Justin won the Governor's Cup, which is really unheard of.
My name is Justin Osborne, and I'm the winemaker at 4 Daughters Vineyard and Winery. I'd never made wine before in my life. I went to winemaking school for a while before I even decided, like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. The new press is actually really exciting for me because it's about almost 4 times larger than our press that we had before, and pressing is one of the most time-consuming processes at harvest. I'll be here until 4 a.m. on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights just pressing. The first step of making wine would be the crusher to stemmer. It takes the stems off of the grapes and it breaks the skin of the berry. And from there, the crusher to stemmer will put out something called grape must, M-U-S-T. Grape must is pumped from the crusher to stemmer into the press. Fresh grape juice is then pumped into a tank where we will hold it for a couple of days and we will let that grape juice settle. We'll leave the sediment behind, take the good juice, and then we will start fermenting that. You got a great research institution like the University of Minnesota just creating an industry, not just here, but they created an industry in Wisconsin, in Vermont, in Maine, in North Dakota, in Montana, all these places. This wine industry sprang from nothing in the past 20 years, all because the University of Minnesota bred a few grapes.
At this point, there's over 50 wineries in Minnesota. It turns out that our climate is actually quite conducive to grape growing. We have a lot of sunshine during the season. We have plenty of warm weather. So there's no reason we can't grow grapes here as long as we get them to survive our winters. I'm Peter Hempstead from the University of Minnesota, and I'm the grape breeder here. In the past, most people have covered up their grapevines over the winter in order to get them to survive, kind of the way some people do with rose bushes. But there's a limit to how many grapevines you want to go out and cover up over the winter. So now that we have varieties like Frontenac Gris here that can survive 35 below zero and make an excellent wine, it really puts our industry on a level playing field with many of the other states. We've had the goal of combining extreme cold hardiness with high wine quality and disease resistance. What we do is conventional plant breeding, just like you would with an apple or any number of other crops. It's quite a long process. It takes roughly 15 years because there's a lot of testing involved. These are actually some of the most cold hardy grapes in the world.
As a family farm winery, we are allowed to operate outside of the 3-tier system where all alcohol producers have to sell to a distributor who then sells to a liquor store. We can self-distribute, so we can go direct to the liquor stores. It's one of the benefits that the Minnesota legislature has given us to help us succeed. We can be open on Sundays. 51% of your products have to be from Minnesota-grown produce. That's kind of a tough one. It's kind of a challenge because with the Minnesota grape industry or wine industry being what it is, grapes are becoming harder and harder to come by in this state. There's probably 20 different people that grow grapes for us. So our vineyard is 6 acres. Majority of our relationships are within ma and pa growers that are within 50 miles of here. We have Edelweiss in our vineyard, but we don't have enough for the quantity of Edelweiss wine that we want to make, so we contract with a different vineyard growing Edelweiss. And so on Saturday what we're doing is we've got volunteers coming, and they're working with our vineyard manager, picking our Edelweiss, and at the same time, our other vineyards picking their Edelweiss, and they will deliver it here, hopefully about the same time that our grapes are coming in, and then we will put the two lots together and crush and destem them and start making Edelweiss wine. That's the cold hardy side. The non-cold hardy side is we also have contracts with vineyards in California, and so we have purchased a large quantity of Muscat grapes for making Moscato, and they're sending our first truckload on Saturday, so we will be receiving about 40,000 pounds of Muscat grapes.
Oh yeah! All right, 15 seconds. 2, 1.
This one is at 18 and this one is at 19. This weekend we're having our annual Grape Stomp Festival. We have a bunch of Brianna grapes that were left over, and we didn't need them for our winemaking process, so we're stomping them today.
It's coming out now, girl. Go, go, go.
It's just because you have the recipe doesn't mean you're a chef. I make wine for the customers that come in. You know, I really don't make wine for my taste. I know what people here like. Like, I have a wine where it's like, this wine is going to win some competitions, just like this. But that's not what the customers want. So I'm going to forego the gold medal and, you know, change it just a little bit so that we sell more out the front door. I think a majority of our customers want a sweeter and fruity wine, white wine. People really like it if you have a wine that smells like a particular fruit. Most people we get here are novice, and they want to take that first step towards, you know, being a wine aficionado. We had a wine called La Crescent, which is a kind of grape, and that won the Governor's Cup last year. The Governor's Cup is given for the best wine in Minnesota. The reason that one won is, besides being a well-made wine, you're like 3 feet away from me now. I could smell that wine in your glass from here. And so that's one thing I always try and focus on, is wines that have powerful aromas. We're trying to build a wine economy here in Minnesota, and 3 years ago it was, you know, there were 5 to 10 wineries making good wine, and now there's like 20 to 30. People are figuring it out. There are more people with education, you know, coming into the industry. There's people from California moving back here. We'll see how big it can get. There's like an arms race. I mean, we're amping up. I mean, that press we got, that new thing, that's huge. You know, we're planning on doing really big volumes here. People are making millions of bottles of wine across our borders, and there's no reason why we couldn't do that as well.